athletes. Joining us now, Dr. Craig Manning, sports psychologist, a guy who used to coach BYU tennis. He's now working, at length with the BYU football team. Coach, I've heard more, or I should say, I call you Coach, Doctor.
He's a coach.
Coach, I'm a coach.
Everything.
That's
Coach,
great.
Doctor, both. I've heard more BYU football players drop your name in the last few months, so I feel like we have like a true celebrity on the desk.
Yeah.
True. This is true.
Yeah, I don't know. We've been just working hard on the mental stuff, trying to get the edge and get them in the right place. But really, most of my stuff is in the shadows. It's in the background. So it's fun working with these coaches and players. Yeah.
Whatever you're telling them, it's working.
Yeah.
It is working. It is. It does. Dr. Manning does wonders. When I was there in 2010, I had met with you just a couple times in the summer, and I really appreciated just the talks that you gave us during fall camp. It looks like it sounds like it's picked up a lot more now that you're a lot more involved. Do you guys have more scheduled exercises and activities for the players?
You know what? For years, I always felt like I was working one-on-one with athletes for years, and that was good. And Coach Mendel's been a huge advocate of this for years, and he sent players out to me for years. In 2010, he kind of brought me into the program to where I started doing more team stuff, and that was good. And then I've been working with U.S. ski team for years.
Yeah.
Done a couple of Olympics with them, and one of the things that I learned almost accidentally is they asked me to pick up a couple of new sports, and I ended up focusing more on the coaches because I didn't have time to work with all the athletes. So 4 times a year we're doing boot camps with the players, but I spent most of the time coaching the coaches there and just helping them with some of the fundamentals. And we ended up winning 6 out of the 9 gold medals from those 2 programs. It was unbelievable how well we did. So I kind of learned from that I got to keep working with the athletes, but I got to spend some time with the coaches so that we're all on the same page. And Coach Mendenhall really liked that idea. He bought into that. And 6-7 months ago, we started doing a coaching session every week. And we push around what's going on, what do we need to do, and bringing in the mental component to that. And it's just bled all the way through the program. And the coaches, honestly, guys, I'm just loving it. Working with Coach Mendenhall every week and working with his coaches, amazing staff, and they've bought into all of this. And I could never have hoped for it to have gone this well. And now we're at this point. I just want to keep doing the research and keep trying to figure out how we can keep getting better. Because honestly, great coaches, great staff, and it's been better than I could have imagined at this point.
Dr. Craig Manning, sports psychologist on BYU Sports Nation, working with the BYU football team, has previously worked extensively with the U.S. ski team and with Red Bull extreme sports athletes. How did working with those top tier extreme sports athletes prepare you for what you're doing right now?
Yeah, working with some of those guys, it's just so interesting to get inside the mind of just one of the elite, the price they pay to get there, the attention to detail. And it's so much fun because if you got to earn their respect, obviously, but if you can support it with some good science, they just embrace it because they're craving trying to get to the next level. And they feel like this is often the edge. They're doing everything they can do physically. But when they do this little bit of extra mental stuff, it seems to be able to get them to that next level. And as soon as that happens, it's a little bit of an addiction. They want more and more then. And so that was fun. Specifically, Red Bull, they've got some resources there. So
we've noticed.
Yeah.
And so that was fun, just having the sort of resources they have. So.
Do you think there's a big difference in your meetings and your exercises when it comes to these high-level athletes, like Olympic athletes, compared to the college athletes?
Yeah. The mind is the mind. The application is different depending on the sport, and that's what I really love. I really do consider myself more of a coach. I feel like it's the science and the mind is the mind, but how we apply it is everything. And trying to figure out how that works for each athlete is where the magic is. So it's not just a cookie cutter plug and go. It's here's the science. How does that work for you? And trying to really, it's the coach, it's the athlete, the coach, and the mental coach all working together to try and help really figure out what works best for that individual. I just love that, I love that personal application.
Wow, it really is an individualized kind of technique there.
Everybody's different, and that's one of the biggest things is we're not trying to fit. There's not one perfect system that you're trying to force everybody into. You're trying to use science and applying it to each individual. That's really where the magic is is trying to work without each individual, or the quarterbacks, or really breaking it down specific for them, and then that helps get to that buy-in, and that's really what I think separates the good from the great, is that personal application to that individual.
Coach and doctor Craig Manning on BYU Sports Nation, sports psychologist working with BYU football. I want to ask you, I mean, you're a guy that's worked with Red Bull athletes that are jumping out of space pods at 96,000 feet or whatever it is.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah.
I mean, like, how does a person get to that mental state? How do they have that much confidence and, I guess, swagger that they're willing to go up and do that and feel like that they can pull it off?
There's so much behind the scenes with that one. There's a lot of fear there. So many people think these great athletes, they're just born mentally tough. Not true. A lot of fear, a lot of worry, that whole program. Mental toughness is, do you have the skills to overcome that fear and stay focused on what you need to do? So again, mental toughness is not the absence of fear. Mental toughness is, do you have the skills to overcome it? So with Felix in that particular program there was a lot of work behind the scenes from the staff at Red Bull to help him be in the right mindset and to, physically be in the right place to be able to do what he did. And there was so many people see Travis Pastrana jump onto a hotel down in Las Vegas. They don't see all of the science behind the scenes, all of the research to get him in the right place to do that. And that's why I love doing Red Bull stuff. They're very much scientists behind the scenes doing a lot of the background work. So
with how much individualized work you do, and you've talked about of how different all athletes are, how do you take that to a team and give them a winning mentality? How do they come together with so many different individuals?
Yeah, I'd say that's probably one of the hardest. Creating the culture is big, because culture then bleeds into everyone. It's the same in the corporate world. Culture is so important because you've got so many individuals, and trying to connect them to a common purpose. It's an art form, and it just takes a lot of constant work. But and if we take our foot off the gas, that culture can erode pretty quick.
Oh, yeah.
So we just need to stay on it, and that's why the weekly meetings are so important. We start our meetings, what's going well first. It's been a big thing that is we gotta leverage our strengths, our successes first, and then constantly focus on what are we going to do better. And as long as we do that, we'll stay on the path and we'll keep getting better.
So with more team meetings, I would assume that as you're going throughout the season, more of your exercises and talks are going to be geared more towards what's going on, right?
Yeah.
If they're having success, if they're having some failures and some struggles. So with the team having a lot of success, how do you prepare these guys mentally to overcome the pressure and overcome the stress of being undefeated?
I love it. One of my biggest things right now, we're 4 games into the season. I really just want an emphasis with the team of what are we doing well? Let's keep focusing on what we're doing well. Let's get what we're doing well so entrenched it's muscle memory, and it's just automatic for us. So we keep staying on that path. And then having some fun, it's a bye weekend. I really want the team, I feel like the coaches, not just me, we want them to relax but occupy the space with some good things, Because if you leave the space empty, we don't want them going off doing things we don't want them doing. So we want them to relax when possible, so that when they're back on the field, the practice is deliberate as possible, and so we can just keep kind of sucking the marrow out of the hard work they've put in. We want them to get every last drop out of the training they've put in, and keep pushing to get better as the season goes on. I still think there's so much more that the fans haven't seen yet. I think we're doing well, but I think we can do a lot more still.
Okay. I wish you could see his face, because
should we put on the blue goggles for that?
I'm putting the blue. Hold on,
I'm buying in.
Let me get Dr. a pair too. I'm throwing him a pair of goggles on. So
all 3 of us.
Goggles. I wish you can see his eyes and how much he lit up. He just gave me goosebumps with his facial expression there. That is exciting, and like I said earlier in 2010, that was just you getting your feet wet, and that was just I just got a small taste of what you could do, and like I said, I ended up going to him, and after 2-3 days, he helped me realize you don't need to be in here, man. You don't have any issues.
Why are you here, Brian?
Exactly.
Get out of my office. You're fine. You never had problems anyway. But that's amazing that Coach Mendenhall has opened this program up for you. And one of the questions that we had was, and you kind of answered it, was going with the coaches, right, and talking to them more. What, as an athlete, I know some of the struggles that we go through, right? As coaches, what are the biggest challenges that they're bringing up to you?
You know, can I just address one thing you said there for a minute? I appreciate a coach that has the courage to do something different.
Yeah.
You know, coaching has been done a certain way for so long. To have the courage to try something different and really embrace new ideas to take it to another level. Not many coaches out there that have that are brave enough, have the courage enough to try something new and expand and take it to another level. And I think Coach Mendenhall's, you know, he's a pioneer with that in the football industry. And so I love that. You know, coaches, they've got the same things where they're worrying about past mistakes. They worry about the future. They worry about what they could have done better. You know, it's just constant progression. They're human beings like all of us, trying to get all of these personalities to come together as one and perform their best all at one moment. I think that's the ultimate. If you can get, as a receivers corps, as a defense, if you can get everybody coming together at once, focusing on that common purpose, what can we do?
Yeah.
I love that. What is possible? I mean, I know Taysom is doing amazing. That guy is so talented. Just seeing what else can he do. And I think from a coach's standpoint, just constantly trying to walk that tightrope of focusing on what we're doing well, but pushing them to get better, but not stepping over the line and wearing them out, you know. It's just such a balancing act that they're always trying to find that middle zone, you know, and I love the pursuit of excellence. I love just trying to see what we can do.
Yeah. Through 4 weeks, hard to argue that BYU isn't the most talked about team on the college football landscape because of their unique circumstance. They're independent. They're ranked number 20. Everyone's like, well, how do they get into the playoff? How do they get to the New Year's Six bowl game? What's going to happen? The players certainly are bombarded with social media, and everybody wants to talk about going undefeated. How do you help them limit the stress of dealing with higher expectations like that?
Yeah, we have some fundamental skills that are really important to us to deal with that. You know what? They all know there's that goal out there of going undefeated. We don't need to keep talking about it. They know it's in the back of their minds. But we got to stay focused on each and every moment to make that a reality potentially. So we got some fundamental skills, some skills that are very specific. I don't want to give some of our secrets out to all of them, but there are some skills out there that the guys are really doing a good job with, and it's making a difference, and we want to make those skills better. But there are fundamental mental skills, and then there are skills that are very specific to an individual or a program that we are, as we do our research, we're figuring out what those are. And I think it's fun. You know, I don't feel like this should be a burden. I think it's fun to see what we can do.
Like that.
Not having a mentality of we have to do this. We don't have to do this. We want to do it.
Okay.
Nice.
Not we have to do it. I love changing that word. We want to do this. We want to see how good we can be. And honestly, if we have that mentality, who cares what anybody else thinks, you know?
Words of wisdom right there. You should write a Proverbs.
Dr. Craig Manning, former coach, now a sports psychologist working with BYU football on BYU Sports Nation. We just got this tweet, Coach, from at UCLA Grad 90. It's Nicole Williams, Jamal's mother.
Oh, great.
She asks, how do you keep Jamal calmed down? LOL.
Well, first, you know, I don't know. I love his energy. He brings a lot of fun energy on the sideline.
Oh,
He
yeah.
starts doing his dance there, and I start smiling because we want to have that fun energy. And as long as he's focused on his cues, he's good to go, you know. And so the biggest thing is just keeping him focused on his cues. Same with him as anyone is. But I love his fun energy and his smile. I think it's electric, and that's what we got to keep doing. That's part of that culture. We want to have that fun confidence. You know, we're not talking about undisciplined fun. We want to have that fun, you know, dialed in focus on what we're trying to do. So he is awesome. I love him. He's this physical specimen, but he's this little boy at heart. You know? So I love him.
So true.
Okay, I want to ask you this. We want you to sign our BYU Sports Nation Rise Up flag.
Great.
Give us your autograph,
Okay.
celebrity status.
Okay.
And do you have a go-to phrase? I know Broncos inherited the one-game season. He and Nick Howell. Is there like a go-to phrase that you have to like pump everybody up? We want to. The reason I ask
I've
is
got
we
a
want to
few.
implement something here so that we can bring it on BYU Sports Nation every day.
We need some help too. With me and Spencer are we haven't won the Y factor yet, so we need some. We're trying to go over that mental hurdle of choosing the correct guy who's going to be the game changer for this week. So we're trying to buy in a little bit to your program.
you know, well, there's a few things that are, you know, are really important to us. But here's one I think I can share is right before we go out there. I just love this phrase, bring the energy. You
Bring
know?
the energy.
We're trying to do a good job keeping the energy low. We got to keep the energy low before the game. And then right before, we just want to bring that energy and kind of let it out. If you're too high too early by the time the game starts, you're fried mentally and emotionally. So trying to keep it calm, and then right before, we just want to bring that energy.
Bring that energy.
The rubber band effect.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
And then boom, when game time goes.
Bring that
Okay.
energy.
Doctor, we appreciate the time. Thank you for your autograph and your expertise.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Great talking to you.